Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. You are tuned in to the American Cream Show. I am your host, Hyacinth Henderson. And on Cream, I show you, teach you, lead you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream on your terms with Cream. And Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindsets. And to my left, I got my main man, Tavaris.
Hey, happy weekend, happy Saturday, everybody. As Heisey just said, I'm Tavaris Jones, licensed stockbroker, licensed life insurance and annuity broker as well. And we came to bring some heat for you guys today.
We're going to bring the heat, even though it is rainy and sunny in South Florida today.
Well, it's heat in here.
It's heat, yeah, it's heat. We're going to bring the heat. But you know what? I appreciate the rain, too. I'm at the stage in my life now where I want the rain because I want it to water my grass. Like I want my plants to get some water. I don't have to run up the field. So I'm like, yes, please rain today, rain gods.
My grandma always talking about her grass, and my granddaddy and my uncles and stuff like that always talking about their grass and stuff.
Listen,
like that.
Call me old then. Call me old. You calling me old? I'll take that. Nowadays, my daughter the other day, she said, "Mama, where you going? You leaving?" I said, "Don't worry, honey. I'll be back before the sunset." Don't get excited. I'll be back. I got to be in the house before the lights come on, right? So thank you all for tuning in. You are listening to the American Cream Show. We are the Henderson Financial Group, right? The Henderson Financial Group is a full-service financial planning and investment advisory firm. Been in business for 30 long years under the vision and expertise of my father, Mr. Robert Henderson Jr. I've been with the firm 18 years. I am a licensed stockbroker. I am an investment advisor, also an annuity and insurance broker. And I am back in the CFP books. So it is my plan to complete the coursework by the end of 2020. And the only reason I'm telling y'all this is so that in January 2021, y'all can be like, yo, Hyacinth, you finish your coursework yet? Like, did you finish your coursework? Did you finish it? Accountability. Y'all my accountability partners and you don't even know it, right? So that's what we're doing here. So by January, did you complete the work? Yes, I did. And now I'm doing the crash course. So that in January, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing the intensive course to prepare for the test. But anyway, that's who a part of what we do.
You got it mapped out, huh?
I got it mapped
out.
We
in September. You already planning for January.
Yeah, man, I got to.
That's incredible. That was the nugget right there for the world. You know, not just for you. There you go.
Planning.
Not just for your test. You know, the world might not be taking the CFP exam, but I'm pretty sure the world have goals and the world have things that they want to do. So yeah, man, that was a nugget right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's thank you for recognizing that, but I guess it's true. Sometimes we don't think about that. We think that people just, oh man, you just made it to the phase where you achieved the goal.
Yeah, it's like it's a whole bunch of practice you got to do behind the curtains.
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes that go into it.
Yeah,
and not only that, but like we always say, your goals start off in your mental first.
They do.
You know what I mean? So before January comes, you got January in your mental already, and that's dope.
Already, I got January next year, August, everything. It's mapped out only because I know that if I don't plan for it, if I don't think about it now, I'll get to that date and kind of be looking around, you know. And so it's almost like, are you planning your days or are you just flowing? Are you planning your life or are you just flowing? What are the goals that you want to achieve? Because I could sit here all day and say, all right, well, I want to be a CFP. Well, what are you doing to achieve that goal? And it starts, like you said, the steps that I'm taking now, right? So in addition to starting to get back in my books and studying now, I don't talk on the phone. You know, I'm getting ready to do a 20-day detox starting Monday. So because you know that when the vessel is cleansed, then the ideas start coming. You're more pure so that you can pick up what's being put down. So all of these things go into play. And if we weren't having this conversation, it would just be like, okay, I completed the coursework for the CFP, or okay, I got my CFP, and people would be like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? So by us having this conversation, I think it's important to recognize that we all take little small steps, and the small steps that we take help us achieve our goal.
Wow. So what I got from that was you set the major goal, right? And then the smaller short-term goals, they just soon follow after. Like it's once you set the big goal, the big goal showed you taught you and guide you to the finding goal?
It dictated my actions.
There you go.
Because your goals are going to do that for you. Your goals are going to dictate your actions. Your goals are going to dictate your friends. Your goals are going to dictate your free time. Your goals are going to dictate what you watch on TV, what you listen to, what you do. But if you don't have a goal, you just out here. So it's dictating my actions and what I'm doing. And since we're talking about this and you like peeling back the layers, you're trying to figure out how Hyacinth works. Let me be honest. One of the main reasons why I finally let you and Antonio peer pressure me into buying a bike, yes, they peer pressured me, right? Wow. Is because I thought about them, and no, not really peer pressure. I tell people all the time I wasn't peer pressured in high school. I'm not going to be 39 years old being peer pressured.
It's good peer pressure, though. But
the reason why I finally said, let me jump on board is because I started thinking, I'm like, all right, they be going on these bike rides, 30, 40, 50, 90-mile bike rides. And so I thought about what I could be doing during that time. And so I said, okay, well, I could be listening to my CFP audio during that time. And as I listen to the CFP audio while I'm riding, if I'm riding on the beach, then I'm able to connect that visual with whatever is being programmed into my audio at that time. So when it comes time for me to study and recall information, now I know I was on Ocean Drive in front of XYZ restaurant and that concept was just taught to me. So it's a bigger picture. It's like the scenic routes that, I'm like, oh yeah, I heard that when I was going over the Rickenbacker Causeway on my bike, so this is all the things that go into achieving your goal. Now, at the same token, if I know that I want to achieve this goal of obtaining my CFP, I know I can't be sitting back. I love me some Being Mary Jane. Have you ever watched Being Mary Jane?
I saw one episode. You told me about it. I saw 1 or 2 episodes, and yeah, she reminded me a lot of you. I had to turn it off because I get a lot of Hyacinth at the office, and then I couldn't go home and watch it too. I was like, nah, enough is enough.
Enough is enough? You had to disconnect?
Yeah, I was like,
you couldn't do it no more?
Yeah. Trying to brainwash me.
You're right. Well, you are very observant.
Yeah.
I see a lot of myself in Mary Jane, and that is, I don't watch regular TV on a regular basis. Certain movies I watch, but in my, I have a moment where once or twice a year, and Being Mary Jane has been off the air, I'll binge watch all the episodes. Right? It's me, some snacks, and Mary Jane. Right? And I've been feeling that because I haven't done that in probably 12 months now. And I've been feeling, I'm like, Dad, I gotta reconnect. Let me watch this and cry a little bit and laugh a little bit and dance around. But my goals say, baby, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that right now.
That's hustling backwards.
That's hustling backwards. Yeah. You better get your behind on that bike.
Yeah.
You better get up at 5 a.m. You got to do the things that you need to do to achieve these goals so you won't be looking up next year with another excuse.
Because if you say Mary Jane reminds you so much of you, if I remember correctly, Mary Jane was successful in that show.
Very successful.
So you gotta, for that reminder.
Yeah.
To live up to that reminder.
Right.
You got to grind.
I got to grind.
Just as she did.
It's hustle time. It's grind time. Yeah. So I'm going to be on my bike. I pick up my bike today. I'm going to learn how to ride it before I go out with these two. That is Tavaris and Antonio off camera. And I'm going to be riding, exercising, and also studying for my CFP while I ride.
If y'all see us out there, hit your horn 2 times. If y'all see us out there on the side of the road.
2 times?
Yeah, 2 times.
2 times. All right, let's get into it. So what are we talking about today?
All right, so today, for our listeners, what we like to call them, our people.
Because I don't like followers.
For our people, for our continuous listeners, for our loyal listeners, right? Last week we spoke about, and we congratulated Tyler Perry for reaching billionaire status, right? Billionaire with the B, right? So we definitely take our hat off to that brother. He's doing this thing. He's putting black people on, right? But I was laying in my bed one night and I just thought about, what about the rest of us, right? It was only right for me to think about, what about the rest of us? Though there's, the Tyler Perrys and the what's his name, Robert Smith, the other black billionaires, Oprah Winfrey's and Jay-Z and Beyonce's and stuff like that. But what about us, like black people as a whole, right? So we have more billionaires than we ever had in history. But what about the overall net worth of the black community, right? It's not thriving like a Tyler Perry. It's not even growing. Actually, we're at the bottom of the totem pole when I did some research, right? So we're below whites, of course. We're below Hispanics, and there's another culture category called other, right? Don't know what that is, but it ain't black.
Right.
It ain't black. And we're below everybody, right? Even though we got millionaires and billionaires, we're still at the bottom. And that actually made my stomach hurt. It didn't sit well with me, right? So I just wanted to bring it to you guys so we can discuss, how we can get from where we are today to where we want to be. Just
where
like Hycie. Yeah, just like Hycie in the CFP.
Yeah, let's reverse engineer this thing.
Yeah.
So here's a moment of honesty. Y'all know I'm always transparent anyway, right? So when Tavaris was like, hey, I want to talk about the dwindling net worth of black folks and how we ain't got no money, I clutched my pearls first. I was like, hold up, right? And my mom, my voiceover said, I want to talk about that. I'm sick of singing that song. We got money. But I was like, take your feelings out of this, right? Take your feelings out of this. And let's look at the research. Let's look at the stats. So I was like, great topic. Let's do it. And then I knew I needed to do my homework. Because here's the thing. I don't like to put us all in one bucket. And I definitely don't like to put us all in one bucket and talk about what we don't got and what we don't have. But I realized we could spin this, right?
Definitely.
Because awareness is key.
Definitely.
And there is no sense in pretending like or ignoring the fact that there are many of us, out here where we're not thriving as we should be financially.
Definitely.
So what I did was I pulled some stats for Miami-Dade County, right? Okay. I was like, people like numbers, right? And I said Miami-Dade, and if you don't live in Miami-Dade, maybe you live in Broward or Palm Beach or wherever you are. I know when I travel and people ask, where are you from? I say Miami. I don't live in Miami, but you get the point. So just go with me here, all right? So I pulled some stats, and this is based on 2020. So these are real numbers. First of all, there are 2.8 million people in Miami-Dade County alone. Did y'all know that?
I didn't know that at all.
2.8 million. So the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because for all of you who are out there who are entrepreneurs, for all of you who are out there who have goals, who have dreams, and your one friend closest to you, or your family member told you, nah, that ain't a good idea, let this be your message that there are 2.8 million people out there who probably think it's a good idea. So sometimes we get caught up in what the people closest to us are saying and not realizing that, hold up, it's a whole slew of people out here.
We got to broaden our horizons.
We got to get out. I got to get up from this table with you and go sit at another table and talk business talk.
Because it's 2.8 million people just in South Florida.
And in Miami.
You got to get on the plane.
Yes,
you got to get on the train.
You ain't got to go nowhere.
You got to go nowhere.
This don't even include Broward County. Listen, Dade, Broward, Monroe County. It's only Miami-Dade County. 2.8 million people. So let that sizzle in your spirit a little bit when you start making decisions based on the opinions of what people said, what somebody said. Go get an opinion of somebody else. All right. So 2.8 million people in Miami-Dade County. Black folks represent about 474,000 people. 474,000 or 16%. All right. So it's 2.8 million. I know we everywhere in our circles, but we only 474,000.
A little less than 500,000. Okay.
A little less than 500,000 and 16% of the population in Miami-Dade County. All right. So where are you going with this, Hyacinth? All right. So let's start talking about some money. Let's start talking about some numbers because we need to put this in perspective so that as you are looking to redefine the American dream on your terms, you can have some facts, right? You can have some numbers and you can know what's out there available for you. Notice I didn't say what you're up against. I don't like that talk. So you can know what opportunities are available for you. All right. So the folks with the most income in Miami-Dade County, the median household income is $80,000. What demographic of people, what race or ethnicity do you think that is? Anybody want to put in the comments? I'm going to give you 2 seconds. Who do you think has the highest? What demographic of people, race, ethnicity, has the highest median household income in Miami-Dade County? I'm going to give you a few moments. Antonio, scroll down. I know we got some comments coming down. Who is that group? Is it the white folks? Is it the black folks? Is it the Hispanic folks? Is it the Hispanic folks? Is it the Asian folks? Who is it? Nobody has anything to say. No? What do you think, T?
I think it's Hispanic.
You think it's Hispanics. Yeah. So Tavaris thinks it's the Hispanic people, and that median household is $80,000. Well, womp. It's the Asian folks. Yes.
I never would have guessed that.
Somebody said whites, Hispanics.
I never would have guessed that.
Yes.
Because you don't even see that many Asian people here, and they making the most. Wow.
But they out here. Let me tell you.
What's the population?
I love that you said that. Asian people. Listen, it's 232,000 black folks in Miami-Dade County. It's 43,129 Asian people in Miami-Dade County.
Wow. So
they make up 1.52% of the population.
That's 10%. It's 10%.
It's a 15% difference.
Yeah.
Right, between black people and Asian people.
Yeah. So Asians make up 10% of the black population, and they're bringing in what 80 on average $83,000
over everybody. They got the highest median household income of everybody. A lot of people said whites, Latinos, Hispanics. Nope, the Asian folks. Right. They make up 1.5% of the population, but yet they have the highest median household income.
Right. So
like, yeah.
And that's was one of the reasons why we wanted to speak to you guys about this. We didn't want to, be depressing or anything like that. We just wanted to be educated, to show you guys that other groups are out there doing it, and we can, mimic some of their ways, so we can, get on that groove and get in that boat to growth and financial prosperity.
One of the things that you just said, so how can we mimic their ways, right? Mm-hmm. I like that you said that. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. We know that Asian folks, they came here.
Yeah.
Right? They kind of just like black folks.
I don't know about that one. That's a stretch.
Okay, well, they didn't have the oppression and things like that, but they were behind the 8 ball.
Okay.
Why do you think they weren't behind the 8 ball?
I wouldn't say. I'm listening. I'm following you.
No, tell me
I'm
why.
Following you.
Because to be real, I think America, right? And so I don't know if my daddy downstairs listening, he gonna come upstairs. But I think the only people in America, the only race of people in America who weren't disadvantaged are white people. Right? And the reason why I think that is because they came over here and took it. They came over here and it was like, give me that. We establishing dominance right here. And so since we're going to establish dominance right here, then everybody else has to fall in line. They establish the order of the way the system should go.
I give you that one.
And so I ain't even really look at their stats, but since we want to talk about it, their income is $56,000. So let's put that into perspective. And someone says the perceptions of Asians are that they are valuable. Silent money go-getters. Here's a big thing about Asian people. They understand community.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
They understand community.
And when you say understand community, you got to break that down.
They understand community. They actually live and take actions. What you say, their tongues in their mouth match the tongues in their shoelaces. Yeah. They actually do the things that support each other in their community. They're not shopping at other stores. They aren't patronizing other businesses. They understand community.
Right.
They really stick together. They get money together. They pull their money together. Listen, it's a couple of Asian folks that live on my block. It's like 100 of them in a house. Right? And so it's 100 of them in the house, but when you do research and you understand why they do that because they like, listen, we just need somewhere to live. We may be 100 deep in this house, but we have businesses that are bringing in income. And so we aren't caught up in the flashiness of just being by ourselves. We are pooling our money together so that we can bust down this mortgage, and then we can put our money back in our businesses and bring in more income. And then a lot of times they establish businesses, right?
Yeah, right. And that goes hand in hand with when I said mimic their moves, right? That's one of the moves right there, to where if you look at African Americans in our lifestyles, right? When we get 18, 21 years old, we're so quick to move out. Our mom is so quick to say, hey, you got to go. But those other races that are thriving financially, they do it a little different, So like I say, we just wanted to bring the information to you guys, right? So you can do something a little different. So you can tweak, your game plan a little bit so you can win a championship.
I went into an Asian market 2 days ago, and they was looking at me like I didn't belong. And they're right. They're 100% right. I went in there for something very specific, and as I was walking in, I'm like, Dad, please don't let me end up on the news and hearing these people shop. Like, let me just let them give me a pass. Like, we see you, but don't come back. Right? And they gave me a pass. I checked out and left, but they were looking at me like I did not belong. They have everything that you could think of in their own store. And the thing is, the windows are blacked out, so you can't see inside. It was an experience. So anyway, let's get back to it. So, all right. So The Asian folks have the highest household median income in Miami-Dade County. Black folks median, and that amount is $80,448. Black folks median income is $40,162.
Less than half.
Less than half. Less than 50%. Right? Think about that. Yeah. Now, as you think about that, a lot of people said the Hispanic folks, right? But the Hispanic folks' household income is $50,000. So black people's household income is still less than 20% of the Hispanic folks. Yes. So why am I talking about these numbers? What did this mean? Because if the household income is 40 grand, why y'all Gucci, Fendi, Louis? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Goes back to mimicking moves and also game plans, right? Thinking about where you want to go, what you want to do. Like we show our wealth, you know what I'm saying? We wear clothes, shoes, vacations, and all that good stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that when you're doing it in moderation, right? When I say moderation, you got to have some type of balance. You want to save some, invest some, and spend a little bit. Enjoy your life. You know, you want to have too much of anything isn't good, right? Too much water ain't good. Too much spending your money is not good. Too much hanging out with friends is not good, right? So what we want to do is bring this info to you so you can do something different, right? It's as simple as that. Bring the info so you can do something different, just to give you some wow factor so you can say, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, let me make a change. Wow, let me do something different.
Let me be aware.
Yeah.
Let me be aware and see what I need to do, because if we know that the Asian people can do it, then why can't we do it? What do we need to do it? Community is huge. We talked about that on Wind Down Fridays last night. But really ask ourselves, what are you doing to reinvest your money within your community? Are you supporting black businesses? Are you doing that?
And if you have a black business, are you hiring black people?
Don't get me started on that. Listen,
are you hiring black people?
Quick story. I'm gonna share this. This is real life story. Today's Saturday, Friday, maybe Thursday. One of these days, Thursday or Friday, one of the days. I got a call. Hey, I've been there's an opportunity for you to participate in a compilation. It's a compilation of black voices. I forget what the book is called, but it's for black women stories, and blah blah blah. And we don't have anybody speaking on finance, and you'd be great to write a chapter for this book. And even better, you don't even have to write the chapter. They'll write the chapter for you after some interviews. And I was already like, I don't want nobody writing for me, because I like to write the way I talk so that my people can understand what I'm saying. But it's like, okay, great. Sounds like a great opportunity. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Let me see what you got in writing. Give me some information in writing, because I've learned that, right? And so as you are elevating and as you are taking your journey of being more and doing more, you got to know that every opportunity ain't yours. You ain't out here begging, right? Because remember, it's 2.8 million people in Miami-Dade County. Why you look like begging one person and taking the first opportunity, right? But that comes with you knowing your worthiness. And my girl Michelle Hollinger has a book on worthiness. You need to tap into that. But anyway, back to the story. So I was like, cool, let's send it in writing. Send me some information in writing. Let me research it, and then I'll get back with you. So I researched, and I'm like, all right, it only took me 2 minutes to find out that a white woman was putting this book together. And so I love my people. I love people. There's nothing wrong with white folks, black folks, or anybody, right? But I do have a problem with a white woman putting together a book about black women's experiences and amplifying their voices. I have a major problem with that. So when we talk about hiring black people and keeping it, and then she want to charge me $3,000 to be a part of the book, cool, get your hustle on. I understand you're going to do some legwork, but I'm not paying you to do that. I'm just not going to do that. So when you talk about hiring black, when you talk about community, when you talk about furthering black folks as a people, we got to be careful what we do, because I can't do that. I cannot let you pander my black experience in your book and get paid while you do it. I'm not going to stand for that. It's just not going to happen. And I'm sharing this experience because it happens every day, B. We don't even realize when it's happening. And so sometimes we think that, oh, I just got to get this opportunity. But you're being faced with opportunities or things that look like opportunities just to see if you're going to stay true to the code. Are you going to stay true to who you are? Are you going to stay true to what you say if your tongue and your shoelaces, your tongue and your mouth and the tongue in your shoe are going to align? Are you going to stay true to that? Or are you going to just eat from anybody who's willing to feed you?
Right. And it's easy to stay true to yourself and true to your cause when you know who you are, where you're trying to go, and what you stand for. So first, before you make any moves, it's clear to get that mental going first, to get that mental stimulation, to do that mental groundwork, that mental legwork, to say, hey, and ask yourself some questions. Go into a deep reflection and say, what do I want to do? You know, who do I want to do it with? Who is my audience? You know, how long do I want to do this? And as you answer those questions, you'll be guided directly where to go. You'll be guided who to do business with, right? So mental stimulation is everything, right? Reflection is everything. It all starts with the mental.
And what are you going to do? Because we can do it. We can do it, and we are your examples, right? And people around you are your examples. It starts with, you know, what are you doing? What's your daily routine? Y'all know I'm big on a daily routine. How are you investing your time? Are you investing your time? Are you wasting your time? Are you spending your time? What are you doing with it? What are you putting in your subconscious mind, right? So I remember years ago when reality TV was new. And I remember my first experience with reality TV was watching Real World. Were you born then? Were you young enough?
That was on MTV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
He was younger. He
so.
Baby. He still had milk on his chin.
Like
baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I remember, those of you who may remember watching Real World. And so that was the first taste of reality TV for me. And then after that came like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And I remember someone asking me, do you watch Keeping Up? And I was like, why would I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians for reality TV when that's not my reality? And so I remember having this conversation and saying, I don't understand why there are hundreds of thousands of millions of poor and broke people around the world who watch this reality TV when that ain't their reality. They don't live like that. They don't have those clothes. They don't drive those cars. They don't do that. And so at that point in my journey, I was not wise enough to see that the programming that was starting to happen. Because back then, listen, nobody was around here everybody wasn't wearing bling bling. You understand? That wasn't the reality back then. You were doing it if you drove a Navigator. Anybody remember Lincoln Navigator? Like if you drove a Lincoln Navigator, you were big time. Or if you drove a Cadillac Escalade, you were big time. Now, because the planting of the seeds from watching the reality TV, that's not really your reality. Now people don't feel like they're doing it unless they're driving Range Rovers, Lambos, like all these other exotic cars. So I remember saying, why are people watching this when this is not their reality? Well, lo and behold, what did they start doing? They started using their money, whether it was government aid, killing, stealing, robbing, scamming, boosting. They started doing whatever it took to achieve and attain these things that they saw on reality TV. And I don't think people realize how much damage that has done to the community.
And what I took from that was, you said they did whatever it took to get material items, right? Whatever it took. So if we put that same effort, that same energy in doing whatever it takes to raise our net worth, right? To create intergenerational wealth, right? To raise our median household income from 40,000 to 80,000 up to, 6 figures, right? We can do it.
Of course we can.
We can do it. Just like we, show off the material stuff, we just got to switch the mindset.
People go by what they see.
Switch the mindset.
It's so great that you said that. So as you say that, everyone who's on here, go ahead and share this. Just like people were sharing the reality TV and people started mimicking that behavior, we want people to mimic the behavior of financial freedom. We want people to mimic the behavior of building a legacy, leaving a legacy of generational wealth. So go ahead. It only takes you 2 minutes to hit the share button. Because we saw before reality TV, ain't nobody was studying that. Y'all hadn't stepped foot into a Gucci, Louis, or Fendi store. But after reality TV, now you see that, and that's what you want. And like Tavaris said, we are here to change the narrative, to change what you see. Because if you see something every single day, you're going to start to think that's normal. Think about this. A kid who, sees people, walks outside their door and sees people shooting and killing and robbing and gang banging, that is normal behavior to them. A kid who walks outside his front door and he sees the yellow tape and the homicide crew, he's like, oh, all right, little Bobby just got killed. Somebody must have died over there on 17th again. That's normal behavior. But if that's not your normal environment, if you don't see that, and I get in my car and I go down to 17th and I see the crime scene tape, I'm clutching pearls. Oh my God, what's happened? And they're like, oh yeah, somebody just got killed. So you have to think about what is in your environment. What are you programming into your subconscious mind? What are you around? What are you around and what are you doing? What are you eating, sleeping, thinking, programming, and how is it helping or hurting your life?
It's time to change the processing system on your mental computer.
Yeah.
Right? It's time to tap in and pay close attention to what you put in, right? And when I say what you put in, your holes in your face, right? Your eyes, your mouth, and your ears, right? These are your holes in your face. All of these are inlets to your mental computer. So whatever you're seeing on a regular basis, it's going into your mental process. Whatever you're listening to, the music that you're listening to. So you might not be watching reality TV, but you're listening to Shoot 'em Up, Bang Bang on the radio or on, your iPod or, wherever you listen to music. That's an inlet to your mental computer. Mm-hmm. Also the food that you eat, right? That's an inlet to your mental computer. So it's time to get in and shake some of that stuff up. Use the internet. Use us to inform yourself and empower yourself on things to good food, good mental food to sing into your mental computer so you can change for the better. Change your mind, change your way of thinking, change your actions, change your life.
Reprogram.
Yeah.
You got to reprogram the system, and you are the system.
Yeah.
Because if you want a different result, you cannot continue to have the same program. You put in the same programming and expecting a different result. It's like you got to upgrade your device.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Did you download the latest software? Like we over here talking about wealth now. We're talking about stocks, bonds. We're talking about understanding our relationship with the bank. You still in that old software?
That's like grandma having diabetes. And she like, man, I'm so tired of sticking myself. But she eating cookies.
Right.
Ice cream. Cake. Yeah. I'm so tired of sticking myself. You're going to look at grandma. I'm like, grandma, you just told me that you tired of, but I can't, So it's the same thing. Work with other areas of life. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Diana George, my good friend Diana George says, it's a mindset. I spoke to someone I spoke to a recent friend of mine who works for the Louis Vuitton store, and she said you wouldn't believe the amount of people buying the product with unemployment funds. Right. And so this is real life. And I believe Diana's in HR. She's the HR guru specialist, the go-to for anything HR, whether you are self-employed, unemployed, or want to be next employed. She is your girl. Right.
Shout out to Diana.
Shout out to Diana George by George HR Solutions. So, but yeah, this is what's happening. So I love that you used the example of a computer system. So what do we have to do to change this? Because I read another article that said a Columbus report, as in Columbus, Ohio, finds that 1/3 of Black and Hispanic households have a zero net worth. Zero. A zero net worth. This is recent.
Now, net worth, right? Because net worth has a lot to do with old money, right? Mm-hmm. So when you say whites and other non-Black communities, a lot of them have old money that's been trickled down for generations to come. And I get it. Nobody went through the struggles that we went through in our past. So you got slavery, you got the Jim Crow, you got the bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and several other events that I'm pretty sure they caused a negative impact on our finances, right? Which negatively impacted our net worth today, right? But we can't dwell on what took place in the past. We can't sit and live in our excuses. It's all on us to make change. We can see what took place then, and like I said, it's all about making that switch. Inform yourself and just make a switch. You can't feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't wait on a politician to come in and say, to come in and save you, because it's not going to happen.
They don't even know you exist.
Yeah.
The politicians don't need. But here's the thing. So when we think about net worth, what is net worth? Net worth is we're looking at your assets and we're looking at your liabilities. Yeah. We're just going to break that down. Your assets and your liabilities. So if you take out a pen and paper and look at all the money you have to your name, wherever it may be, just write that down. You got $100,000 over here. Okay, let me go back. Okay, you got 20,000 over here. Okay, maybe you got 5,000. Whatever your number is, write it down. You got $10 under the mattress. You got that big jug of water and coins. That's estimated probably like $500 because you've been doing it for the last year. You know, every black person in America got a big 5-gallon jug of coins in their closet somewhere, right? Yeah. So you write down everything that you can touch, right? You may even include your 401k, everything to your name. And then, so that's the easy part. It don't take long for that. The tricky part is write down who you owe. What are your liabilities? How much is the mortgage on your house? How much do you owe on your car? How much do you owe in student loan debt? How much do you owe? Who you owe and how much do you owe? And when you look at that number and then you look at the number of everything you got, then you're going to see if you have a positive net worth or a negative net worth. So if you have $100,000 in assets and you have $200,000 in liabilities, you have a negative net worth by $100,000. It is important for you to know. It is important for you to understand. It is important for you to explain this to your children and nieces and nephews and godchildren, because as they start making decisions, you want them to think about, am I hustling backwards? Do I have a positive net worth or a negative net worth? In the Columbus, Ohio study that they recently did, according to the city's data, black women are more likely than any other group to have attended some college or gotten an associate's degree. Black women, we winning. We already know that, right? So, however, despite their education attainment, black women are still the most likely to live in poverty, making up to 24% of Columbus's poorest residents.
I think that's a direct correlation to student loans.
Come on now.
Student loans, which leads to the family not preparing or not being able to prepare for a college education. Wow. So it's a domino effect. So, you know, our black women, shout out to y'all, the most educated, but it's hard to get ahead because of the financial strain, right? So you go to school, you get these student loans, and Lord knows it's easy to get a student loan. But when you're trying to get a loan to empower yourself, you know, that's another story. But so our black women are rising on the education side, right? But when it comes to paying for education, because we know it's not free and we know it's not cheap, so we got to go and get these student loans, and we load up on these student loans. Before you know it, you got 6 figures in student loans. We see it all the time, right? For a career that's only bringing in what, 80,000,
if that.
80,000, 60, 70, $80,000. So it also goes back to decision making, right? We have to weigh out what makes sense. You know, we can't go to school and spend all this money on school for a career that doesn't have a positive ROI. You see that on the shirt? Right?
And let's break ROI down, because every time I wear this shirt, somebody stopped me. Listen, child, I was in Morocco. The first time I wore this shirt was last year. Around this time, I was in Morocco, and we were on a tour bus, and it wasn't all black folks on the tour bus. And I had the sweatshirt. I would wear the sweatshirt when I was on the bus and it's cold, and the sweatshirt says the same thing, because I believe in this so much. Black women have the best ROI. And finally, I guess after like maybe day 4 of me wearing a sweatshirt, this lady, she's a white woman, she said, "What does ROI mean?" And I said, "Return on investment." And she turned around and walked away. So 2 things. I was like, wait a minute, you didn't know what ROI meant?
I think that was a test. I think she wanted to know if you knew.
Nah, she didn't know. Nah. She didn't know. She didn't know. She had no clue. And so the other message is, we got to stop thinking that white is right. Stop. Black folks, we do that a lot. We think all of a sudden, because, you know, every white person in America knows more, has better ideas, and is smarter than us, and that is not the case. Okay, so back to ROI. ROI means return on investment. So when my shirt says, and I see a couple of y'all commenting on the shirts, thank y'all so much. This wasn't planned. It really wasn't planned.
It wasn't. It's just a synergy.
It was just, the synergy, the energy, the alignment. And when he walked in this morning, I was like, you know what? I have a bathing suit that says that.
She really did say that.
Yeah, I have a bathing suit that says the exact same thing. So this is the energy we on this morning and every day, right? So return on investment means, what are you getting back from that investment? So you should be looking at ROI with anything. ROI of your friendships, of your job, of your spouse, your mate. Like, let's talk about that. Is your spouse or your mate an asset or a liability? Are they returning anything on the investment of you cooking and cleaning and sleeping in the same bed with that joker every night? Or are they returning a headache? Like, you have to start looking at that. So back to the study, right? So in Columbus, Ohio, Black women are more likely to be educated. They are than any other group to have attained a college degree, but yet they're in debt. So Tavaris started talking about student loan debt and things like that. Well, student loan debt, I understand, most times we have to take out student loan debt because, you know, our families didn't leave us a legacy for college. They didn't do college planning. And if they do have a house, they don't understand that lots of times the wealth play is to pull money out of your property and send your kid to college. Like, folks don't understand how to use their assets, because remember, our Black people, we want to have a free and clear house. Like, that's what we want to do. And so when we have a free and clear house, we sitting on money, dead money in the walls, but here it is, Tink and Tito got to go get in debt to borrow to go to college, and they're already starting behind the 8 ball instead of using your asset wisely.
It's all about strategy.
Yeah,
it's all about strategy.
It's not about what you do, it's how you do it, right? So when you think about that, you're like, well, how can we change this? We hear what you're saying, you're talking the facts, and this is why I kind of don't really like to talk about this, because I don't want to, like, oh my God, we're doing so bad. We could do better. So what is the solution to all this? The solution to this, number one, is getting educated. And so you're here. So thank you and congratulate yourselves. Give yourself a raise the roof. You know, I'm old school, a pat on the back, whatever you got to do for educating yourself. Have these conversations. Share these conversations with your friends, family, loved ones. As Tavaris said, you got to reprogram your system. If you're still talking about old school stuff, then you have to realize that your system may be outdated. So as you start to reprogram your system, share the information and then step into new circles. And when you step into new circles, those circles are going to ask you, what are your goals? What are your goals? Me and my crew, we talk about, we talk about goals, what we're trying to achieve, what tests we want to do. We share book information. I'm reading this book, you're reading that book. Now we're talking about biking, gardening, things like that. So you have to understand that your goals will dictate your actions, will dictate your friendships, will dictate your environments, will dictate your relationships, even romantic relationships.
I just got a picture that came to mind when you was just talking.
So I'm painting with words?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The picture that came to mind was your goals is a seed that you plant in the ground, right? Now, when you plant a seed, first you can't plant it on concrete, right? So that concrete can be negative friends. So you can never, your seed not gonna produce fruit if you're around these negative friends. If it's planted around negativity, right? So your seed got to be placed and surrounded by great soil, good quality soil, and that good quality soil could be a friend or an accountability partner that's gonna push you towards where you want to be. Now, the stuff that's coming out their mouth, it may not be the most comfortable words, but it's pushing words. It's getting you closer to where you want to go. Right, and then after you plant that seed in that good surrounding soil, you got to put action behind it and water that seed. Right, get that seed some sunlight, and then before you know it, before long, you'll be there and see the fruit from the seed. You'll be able to see the fruit from the seed. So
it'll start
that's
to
what
sprout.
I just got. Yeah, that's what I just got from that. What you just said.
Good. I love that you expanded on that for the folks who are listening. So, yes, your seeds, your surroundings, and then as you get around these new people, the way that you're going to be able to tell if they're your people or not is by what they're talking about. It's by what they're watching.
Is it concrete or soil?
Is it concrete or soil? So, and sometimes you're going to have to get up. You're going to be like, listen, I'm famous for all right, I'm going to head out. Like, just, you do the church. I used to go to church back in the day, right? Anybody used to go to church? When you go to church and you got to squeeze down that pew, you kind of gather your stuff real quick. You do it swiftly, too, before anybody knows what's going on, because you don't want to interrupt the pastor that's up there, right? So you grab your stuff and you kind of do that creep out real quick, and then you don't look back either. That's how you got to do with these relationships and these environments and things that you're in. When you start reprogramming, you got to do the church pew exit. You got to do that church middle of service exit, and then say, okay, I'm getting up from y'all because I'm going over here to people who are talking about net worth. Everybody who's watching this video, whether you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, by the time this video ends, you should be pulling out a pen and paper and figuring out what your net worth is. You don't even need a whole sheet of paper. You could do it on a napkin. It don't have to be complicated. Figure out what your net worth is, and then as you look at your net worth, then think about what type of lifestyle you want to live. Then think about here's another great question, especially since COVID and everything that's going on is having us have that front and center conversation with mortality, right? Think about this. If the good Lord call you home tomorrow and say, all right, you're up. It's your time, kid. You out of there, right? If that happens, then what are you leaving to your children? What's going to happen? Are they going to eat the next day? So then you have to think about legacy. So as you look at net worth, what am I leaving as a legacy? Do they have a property that I could leave to them? Do I have life insurance? Am I leaving them bills? Am I leaving them debt? What am I leaving them? So as you start thinking about that, you got to start with the man in the mirror, like the late great Mike Jack said. Start with the man in the mirror. And as you do that, don't get discouraged. Be like, all right, cool. Since I know that I'm here and I know I want to get to there, what do I need to do? The first thing you need is a budget. I tell people that all the time. The only people that don't have a budget is broke people. The only folks who don't have a budget and operate from a budget are broke people. You want me to tell you why? Because the wealthy people, we understand and we tracking every single dollar because we want to know how we can make those dollars work for us. So we understand that a budget is not about restricting us. And that's the problem with some people who don't have a budget. They feel like a budget is, about telling me what I can't do. Change your mindset. Your budget is going to tell you what you can do. Your budget is going to tell you where you can invest. Your budget is going to tell you how you can make these numbers dance. Your budget is going to tell you how much money you got to throw into the stock market. People call them like, oh, I want to invest in Tesla. Girl, do you have 6 months of living expenses saved?
And a budget changed my life. I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier when it came to writing out the assets and the liabilities, right? And Hyacinth said, don't take long. You can do it on the napkin. Write your assets out. Don't get discouraged if you write your assets out on a napkin, right? Napkins are only but so big, right? But our goal is to get you from where you at now, writing those assets on a napkin because you may not have many assets, to putting those assets on a whole Excel spreadsheet because you got so many of them, right? So that's the goal. You want to lead up to that point, but to get to that place, you got to do certain things, right? And the first step, like Hyacinth said, was a budget. And a written budget, Lord knows, it changed my complete life. Complete life, right?
Tell the people, tell us a story. I love that story. Share it. Go ahead. I love it. It sounds so good. I was amazed when I first met him and he told me that. So tell the people. They want to know. They want to change their life too.
So it was once upon a time, right? Once upon a time, I had $400 to my name, right? $400 to my name. And some people might say, hey, man, that's more than I got now. But I had $600 left in bills to pay for the month. So I was actually negative $200, right? And on this weekend, it was some Jordans about to release, right? Some cool grade 9 Jordans. And I always wanted them as a kid. Parents didn't buy them for me. I was like, hey, man, I need to get these Jordans. I'm already negative $200. And I knew this before I went to the store to buy those shoes, right? So back then, the Jordans was like $150. But I paid an extra $50 so I can get them early. I wanted the shoes so bad. I wanted the shoes more than I wanted money. Crazy. So went to the store, purchased the shoes, right? So now I'm negative $400. Negative $400. I got home from the store looking at the shoes, and the shoes didn't even look that good to me no more. They didn't even look that good to me. I was like, oh my God, like, what did I just do? What did I just do? And I knew instantly I had to make a change. Instantly. So I started going to seminars, started reading books on financial planning and how you personal finance, not even financial planning yet, but personal finance, because I just knew something wasn't right. I'm looking around, and in the hood, you hear white people got money. You always hear that white people have money. So I'm like, how do they have money? So I just started doing what white people was doing. I would go to these seminars. I'm the only person in there, only black person in there, and the youngest person in there as well. And one thing just led to the next. They started dropping gems on books. So I started picking up the books, started reading the books. And at that time, I had never read a full book in my life. I had never read a full book in my life.
How old were you when all this was going on?
I was early 20s. I was probably 22, 23.
Okay.
Right. Had never read a full book. But when it came to that money and they said that you can change your financial situation by reading these pages, you better believe I read them books. It may took a while, but I read them books. So in the books, they spoke about the importance of a budget. So when nobody never taught me how to do a budget, growing up. So I started getting on YouTube, right? Finding different YouTube channels, how to budget, how to do this, how to do that with the budget. And it took a while for me to get it down packed, but eventually I tried it. You know, I went to Walmart, got me a little 10-cent notebook, spiral notebook, and I just started jotting, you know, what was coming in every month and what was going out.
Wait, you're going too fast. You making it seem like he said he went to Walmart and got a 10-cent notebook.
10-cent notebook.
10-cent notebook. So he educated himself. He read a lot of books, and then he used free resources, because YouTube is free 99.
Yeah.
It's a low price of FREE, right?
Yeah.
So free resources. And then he said, let me actually get up and do something. He went to Walmart and got a 10-cent notebook. He didn't say, I got to get an app. I have to learn how to work Excel. I got to do woo, woo, woo. He got a 10-cent notebook. And then you started doing what?
Started jotting down what was coming in, all my income, what was coming in, how much was going out, just keeping track of it, keeping track of my spending, right? And I would also set a monthly savings goal. So at the beginning of the month, I'll say, okay, by the 30 days from now, at the end of the month, I want my savings account to be this, to be this amount. And I would set steps within my notebook on how to get me to that point. After the first month, had a great month, right? Actually, I had $34 over what I had set out to save.
Why do you think that happened?
Because I was jotting it down. I kept track of every dollar.
And so as you kept track of every dollar and started putting more money in your savings account, how did you feel?
Oh my God, it felt so great. It felt so amazing, to the point I felt empowered, because I had taught myself, I wanted something. It was a desire of mine, right? And I fueled that desire by putting action behind it. It took some time, and I was on that road lonely, by myself, right? So the first month went, it was amazing, $34 surplus. The next month, it was like a $78 surplus. And then after that, it was just, my bank account just started growing. And after a while, now imagine, before all this saving, I had a habit of spending money on clothes and shoes and cars, right? I drove a BMW at the time.
745.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't be modest.
I drove a BMW at the time, right? And I loved clothes, shoes, belts at the time. This was like 2012, and I was buying like $600 belts and doing all kind of foolishness or whatever the case may be. And as I started to save my money, and as my savings account started to grow, that all stopped. All that wanted to blow my money on foolishness, I was like, you know what, that's crazy. I'd rather spend that money on myself. I'd rather pay myself that money. And it just grew. And then that led to me purchasing a property, and then another property. And now I'm a landlord now at 24 years old. I'm like, wow, this is all obtainable. And then I got so excited about it to the point where I was like, I need to help other people, because nobody in my family is talking about this. Do they know? Like, do they know this is possible? So I started helping friends and family with the budget, right? And then they started referring me to their friends and family. I was meeting complete strangers at Starbucks, showing them how to budget, showing them how to manage their money. That's all it is. It's just a money management system.
It's very emotional. I love when you share that story. Drop some hand claps or thumbs up in the comment section for Tavaris. I always enjoy hearing him share that story. Number one, because he did it alone. He did it alone, and he was young when he did it. Ain't nobody told him to do it. He just got to that point in life where he was like, hold up, you hustling backwards, right? And so what I really like is he said he got the cool grays home, and you could tell he really wanted them shoes because he still remember the name of the shoes. Yeah. Like, it's how many years later, almost 10 years later, he still remembers the name. So he got the cool grays home, and he didn't even want them anymore. So the emotional excitement or attachment or response that he was expecting, it was gone. And so what he was able to do is then shift that emotion to budgeting and saving. He was able to shift that excitement and emotion to saying, listen, I set out a savings goal of XYZ a month, and this is what I got. And so this is why I have you guys track your expenses. When I tell you to track your expenses, when I tell you to create savings goals, it empowers you so much. You don't even realize, if you set out a goal to save $50 and you hit that $50, you're going to feel like Superman. You're going to feel like Superman, Superwoman, whoever. You're going to feel so amazing because you did that. And so once you continue to hit those milestones, then you'll do exactly what Tavaris said. He's like, wait a minute. All right, let me see how I could bust that goal open. And then I'm going to take these systems that I learned and then buy a property. I love that. So another takeaway from today's show is after you write down your net worth, after you write down your budget, create a savings goal. It don't have to be nothing big. It doesn't have to be $1,000. Just create a savings goal of, at the end of 7 days, I'm going to have $100 saved. And to you, it may sound like, oh, Hyacinth, I could do that on my head. Let me see you do it. Because I know you can do it, but will you do it? It's two different things. And lots of times we'll say we can do it and we don't do it because it seems so small. So what I want you to do is have that $100 saved in cash money. Like, I want you to be able to take a picture of it and inbox it to me. That's what I want you to be able to do, because I don't want you to just talk about it. I want you to actually do it and put it on your dresser every day. Tell your kids, don't touch it. This ain't the candy lady money, right? If you save $5 today, put that $5 on your dresser and look at it every single day. And then tomorrow you're like, all right, I said I was going to save $100 this week. Let me see where I got to put another 25 here. That's what I want you to do. And as you start to do that, you'll start to be empowered and know that you can do it. And then, and only then, we can get into education. Right. Then we can get into investments. Right. Because when you learn that you can save and we get into investments, you're going to be like, hold up. Wait a minute. If I'm saving this money, now let me see where I could put it where it's going to make some money for me. Then you'll understand that listen, all the rest of that stuff, I don't have time for it. And not to say you shouldn't like nice things. You should like nice things. Right. But your assets should pay for your liabilities. I remember a couple months ago, probably last year sometime, I was dating this guy. This man had a foreign car. He used to shop at Nordstrom's and stuff like that. And he wanted to take me to the movies every week. First of all, that was a big deal, a big problem for me. I'm not going to the movies every week. Second of all, like, bro, I'm not doing that. But second of all, then we would go to eat, and you want to stop by the liquor store before we go to the restaurant. So you want to get something to drink before we go. No, I like to order champagne. We are not aligned here, right? But he was fresh. He was always in the store. He drove a foreign car, and we get to the restaurant and he ordered an appetizer as his entree. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So if you start to look at how you're spending your money and where you're spending your money, then you can say, all right, well, now, I've saved XYZ. I'm going to go out and have a nice dinner. Or I'm going to take a nice trip. Or I'm going to do, you just have to get to that level. The point is, there are levels to this. You can't skip to you driving a foreign and you dropping at Nordstrom's, but you want to order an appetizer for your entree at the restaurant. Bro, I want 2 appetizers, a drink, and a dessert, and a main course. Like, what are we doing? So there are levels to this. As someone once told me, you have to first finish your breakfast before you can get to lunch. You can't just skip over and jump over. Now I'm looking at you sideways and you thinking you're doing it, but who are you impressing? So that's why I love, just thinking about the foundation and realizing that we can absolutely do it.
Another thing, right?
I'm like hyped up, and Tavaris is like
another thing, right? It's not all about income. Right, I know a lot of times in our community, the first thing we want to know is how much this person making. How much you making? How much you making? Oh, such and such doing good because they making 100,000. They making 150,000. So they doing good. But I never forget, this Jewish guy asked me, how much are you saving a year? Right. So it's not about income. It's about how much of that you actually keeping. So you could be making 100,000, but if you spending 110. It don't even matter that you're making 100,000. So when he asked me that question, how much are you saving per year? I never heard anybody ever ask that question, because in my community, I always want to know how much you're making, how much you're bringing in. But it doesn't stop there at the income. You got to manage that income to where you can build on that, right? That's what the goal is. So don't get discouraged if you may have a low income or whatnot. You may have whatever the case. You may have a low income, but your savings don't necessarily have to be low. It all depends on how you manage it and what you do with the money. It's never about how much you make, but how much you spend.
I love that. How much are you saving per year? Yeah. That's another gem T just dropped on you. How much are you saving per year? That's the question. That's a mantra. Tape it to your forehead. How much am I saving per year? How much am I saving? What are my savings goals? What am I doing with the resources that I have? Because I'll tell you something. It's a whole lot of things that you don't need, but one of the things that you need is some money. You're going to need you some money.
Right.
No matter what you got going on, you're going to need you some money. So you have to put that in perspective. And people often tell me, oh, I'm treating myself. I just did this. So I'm going to get a new car because I'm treating myself. I just finished grad school. Wait a minute. You're not treating yourself. You're cheating yourself because you just finished grad school. You got the student loan debt from grad school. Now you're going to get out in more debt by buying a car that you can't even afford right now because you already got a negative net worth. So are you cheating yourself or treating yourself? Right?
Logic over emotion. Assets over liabilities.
Gotta think about it like that. You're listening to the American Cream Show. We are the Henderson Financial. Why are you looking at me like that, Antonio? You know I'm live, right? Now everybody gonna hear this. You're listening to the American Cream Show. We are the Henderson Financial Group, a full service financial planning and investment advisory firm. We've been around for 30 years. If you can't tell, we are passionate about this. We want you to get it and get it good, and we want you to share it. So if you are on this live, please do us a huge favor and share the live. It doesn't matter if people don't comment on your share or like on your share. Don't get caught up in that. Please don't get caught up in that. Trust me, every single week I happen to stumble over a conversation and like, oh yeah, I've seen you on live. And I'm thinking to myself, I never said like, why you ain't like the video? Like, that's what I be thinking. Why you ain't hit the like button? Or why you ain't let me know you get it? But I don't say it, I just think it. So the point is share. Please share this video because someone in your family or on your timeline needs this information. Don't worry about the likes, they looking. And if they're looking, they're learning. And we want them to learn because as we all learn, we all get to elevate. And if we're all elevating, then we're empowered. And that's really and truly what it's all about. We want to go through the list real quick. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we got
a lot of action. Lights, camera, action.
So we got Erica Owens. Appreciate you stopping by. Miss Dorothy Henderson, DeLawrence Moore. He's always tuned in on Saturdays.
Yes.
Diana George. Hey, Diana, how's it going? Nicole Stewart Long. Appreciate you. Miss Erin Harris. Thanks a lot. June Danley. She's a faithful listener as well. Lynette Blondette. Hey, Mrs. Blondette. Damian Nelson. Hey, what's up, brother? Denise Ward. What else we got? Tracy Tompkins. Good morning. Lori. Hey, what's up, Lori? We got Ronnie Cross. Erica Owens. Appreciate everybody coming through. Tangela Sweeting. Denise Ward. Who else we got? DeLawrence Moore again. Who else we got? I saw...
All right, Tara. Yes.
Hey, Tara, how you doing? I saw my homie Precious as well. She the one that created this shirt. So if y'all like the shirt, that's
yes, Precious. I love that. I'm a t-shirt girl. In case y'all haven't noticed, every Saturday.
Yeah, so Precious got the shirts going.
Plug me, Precious. Hit me up in my DM. I want to buy some stuff. All right, and drop your information in the comments, Precious. Drop your information in the comments so that we can support your shirts and your beautiful Black-owned business.
There you go.
Yes. All right. You're listening to the American Cream. We enjoyed you. Thank you so much, not only for being here, but for showing up for yourselves. Because we know you may like our shirts, you may like the jokes we crack, but ultimately you're here for the financial education. And that is about you and your community and your environment. So give yourselves a hand, give yourselves a round of applause, big up yourself, and understand that we can change the narrative at any given moment, and you are a part of doing that. Until next week, y'all stay safe, stay sane, write out your savings goals, write out your net worth, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.